one.
Good morning. Welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 46, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with our producer, Alden Iwani. Our very special guest today, former Rio Rancho, former New Mexico State, and also former CFL star, Chris Williams. Chris, thanks for being on the show, man.
Man, thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, Chris, I don't think there's a time we don't see each other that we don't share old stories. And, we got you laughing back there at the Rio Rancho tournament. I'll tell you stories about Coach Salata, who I've known for years. Coach Salata, I love that guy, man. That guy is so funny, and a great coach and a great man.
You
He's
know,
got.
I
Yeah,
get
go ahead.
into work with him for the last 3 years. You hit it right on the head, man. He's just a great man, and he's hilarious. He just quite frankly, he keeps the party going. I'll tell you that much, man. The man knows how to work a room.
It's I told you that story, and I'll make this real quick. When we played together, we played on a couple teams together. But back in the day, nobody has stats for county, for city, for Los Lunas, and he was playing in 4 leagues that went to the base. So I'd ask him, hey Walt, what are you averaging? I would just ask to see if he do 20 at the base, 25 in Los Lunas. God, the guy would have me cracking up. Get in the car and listen to Eye of the Tiger on the way to the games. So I still tease him about that because he's one of a kind, no question about it.
We're
But
still
Chris,
playing in the locker room for the kids.
oh yeah, I mean he's got he's got Walt's his son coaching and his daughter Allie has just begun officiating. I'm trying to mentor her a little bit and help her a little bit. But Chris, you're an assistant football coach, also an assistant basketball coach at Rio Rancho. We got a lot to get to here. Chris, you had a heck of a career in high school and in college and in the Canadian Football League, which a lot I know about the NFL. So you're gonna have the schools. I know it's a bigger field in the Canadian Football League, and it's still the pros, man. It's still the pros.
Nah,
You did have a
here's what
you did.
people don't understand. Canada is the second best pro football league there is out there. It's 10 years now. I think we're going on for that league. So, you can look up any video. You can see Chad Johnson talking about it. I mean, we're the next wave of guys, and a lot of guys who are NFL talents there. Some choose not to go to the NFL. Some have opportunities and they stay because honestly, man, it's just a beautiful place to be. Canada has a lot of nice things for people who like us who come from a different place. You go over there, it's just a different way of living. It's a different style of life, man. I got to be in different parts of the country. I got to be on the East Coast, got to live on the West Coast. There's prairies out there, the cold weather. There's a lot of different aspects. Big city life, small city life. So there's just a lot of things out there for guys, and a lot of them fall in love with it and they stay. Some of them come from hard backgrounds.
You're there
I was
10 years.
blessed.
Yeah.
I was blessed not to come from such a hard background. I had a lot of things that helped me get to where I was at, and so coming back home for me was, I wouldn't say it was a given, but it was nice, man, and it just fit kind of right. A lot of guys they don't have that same background. They don't have that same situation. So when they go out there, they might be really good and they might stay because coming back to the States leads to a lot of different issues. People ask for things when you're in the NFL. And, I got to spend 3 years there, 6 years in Canada. So I got a good mix of both. And it's just a different world.
It's that's very interesting. Your experience again. You were there in Canada for 10 years, played with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, franchise record for touchdowns in the season, 17 CFL record for returns in the season, 6 touchdowns, tied for CFL record punt returns in the season, 5 CFL 2011 most outstanding rookie, CFL 2012 most outstanding special teams player, and 2000 you won a Grey Cup, 4-time CFL star. Talk a little bit about the Grey Cup. I know Doug Flutie won one. I'm not a huge follower of Canadian football. I'll be the first to tell you that. Doesn't mean I haven't watched it. Bigger field, bigger end zone. But
Yeah.
winning a Grey Cup, Warren Moon won how many Grey Cups?
I think
I
he
think
won
Doug.
like 4 in a row. So I got to spend 6 years in Canada. So my whole career was lasted 10. Got to spend 6 years in Canada, 3 in the NFL, in various places throughout the States as well. So that's 4 teams there, 4 teams here in the States. And what I'll say about the Grey Cup, it's every bit the the feel of a Super Bowl for them, for the Canadians. It absolutely is. Yeah, when you go up there, man, the whole week is a party. You have all festivals, you got events. The cities get to showcase what they're about. You know what I mean? You get to see the shops, the culture, everything about it comes to life. And I had great experiences. I got to play in two. Actually, got to only play in one because I was hurt on one of them, but won one, lost one, and it was just an amazing experience all the way through and through. And obviously, I had a lot of success in Canada. I got to play. I got to actually play, which is different. Didn't get those same opportunities in the NFL to really step on the field at receiver and do my thing. I got to return a little bit and had a little bit of success there, but in Canada, I really got to showcase my skills as a receiver. And like you said, the wider field, there's 65 yards across instead of 53. The midline's at 55. The end zones are 20 yards. There's also 12 players on the field. So that extra person actually makes the spacing a little bit less in some areas. There's a true boundary in the field. Those hashes are wide. When they make that field side throw, that hitch, it's a 50-yard throw. So there's some nuance to that game that I think a lot of people will like. It's a lot of passing, 3 down football. You only have 3 downs to get the first down. And I know now they have their ESPN deal, so a lot more people can get to watch it. And for the most part, you get exciting games. I will say that when you get a team who has a good quarterback, good receivers, and an offense that's really humming, like what my teams were fortunate enough to have, that game is super fun to watch and play. You're going to get high scoring. You're going to get explosive plays. You're going to get to see the football that the NFL is trying to get to, where everything is spread out and going. That's what you're going to see in Canada. All RPO game and getting the ball to your playmakers in space and letting them work.
Interesting about the extra player. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And I know, of course, the hashes are wider and it's a bit. End zone is how many yards?
20 yards.
Okay, so a lot of room.
Goalpost is right in the front of the end zone, so you have to be very careful on certain routes, offensively and defensively, because that goalpost is right in the front.
Used to be in the NFL back in the day. It was in front, then they moved it back 10 yards. Back in
Mhm.
the '70s, it was right in the center there. Then they
Yeah,
moved it back ten
Canada
yards.
said we're just gonna leave it here and we're gonna make y'all work with it. We'll make the end zone bigger, give you some safety there.
So a lot of room to you mentioned the 3 down football. A lot of
Mhm.
room in the field to be more creative and more wide open if you have good skill position players.
Yeah, and it creates a lot more possessions too. So, and even in the return game, there's no fair catch. You have to have a five. You get
Really,
a 5 yard. There's a 5 yard halo that they have to give you, but there's no fair catch. So, I'll give you a little bit of an example. The year 2012 that I won Special Teams Player of the Year. When I got those 6 returns, I got them all in the first 9 weeks of the season. So it was like bang, 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 and the whole second half of the season these teams basically just disregarded the 5 yard halo and would take their penalty. If the ball's in the air, it's 15. If the ball hits the ground, it's 5 yards. So their punter just started kicking it on the ground and told their dudes to go tackle me right away. So I was like, grab it, take the 5 yard penalty, and we'll live to fight another day.
so they wouldn't
So
even
that
let you up. They wouldn't even let you catch the ball.
oh man, it was I had such a special season that year. I mean, it was really it is a CFL record, so it's something that's never been done. I think I had like 1,100 punt return yards, another 1,300 receiving yards, 17 total touchdowns. I mean, my season was great. Our team was 6-12. We were last place in our division, and we didn't even make the playoffs. And it was just one of those things I learned early on as a pro that no matter how good you are individually, like you got to have all the pieces around you because everybody's good, everybody gets paid, and even at this level, you just can't do it by yourself. You got to have everybody, and that's football in a nutshell.
Even in that league. And then, so anybody that doesn't know much about the Canadian Football League, it's very. You mentioned 150 years it's been around.
Like
Am I correct?
110, like
110,
110, yeah.
110. So it's been around a very long time. Uh,
Time.
it's the way you describe it, 3 down football. There's RPOs and bigger hashes, and I've seen the 20-yard end zone. I used to watch the games. And I think that's just exciting football. And they're going to nail. You're going. There's some physicality at that league too, correct?
Oh, absolutely. They barely, I think, shoot, it must have been 2016, 15, 16, adopted the 5 yard for the receiver. Before then, they could just grab you all the way down the field as you're running. So, there's definitely some physicality. For the linemen, they'll find this interesting. You have to be 1 yard off the ball as a defender.
That's right. Okay, I do remember that. I do
Yeah,
remember that. So there's just some different nuances to that game, but
absolutely. And
yeah,
the
and
receivers can move. Oh, I mean, like when you watch it, it's me knowing obviously the nuance of what to do. There's a lot of things I can tell pre-snap because of the way the receivers move about kind of what's going to happen and what they're looking for. But if you watch it, man, and you don't know what's going on, it looks crazy. There's guys running left, right, crossing, taking 10-yard head starts and sprinting. Guys who are standing on the line, moving right to left. I mean, it's quite the show. And I'll say this, man, when you get a team that's doing it right, it's beautiful. It's beautiful football to watch.
motion before the snap, I believe run receivers can run up and right motion
Yeah.
before the
So
snap.
as long you're two on the end, they have to stay on the ball, but they can move side to side, and the rest of them, they can move. They can move wherever they want,
That
as
is
long as they don't
that
cross
is
the
some
line.
we also wanted to you know what, we've got a whole lot of things to get to, but real quick in about a minute, talk to us about the influence. Your mother Carol was a heck of an athlete too, man. And we, because your
Absolutely.
dad Wallace was such a great athlete, don't want to forget about your mother. Your mother was a heck of an athlete too. You come from a darn good gene pool, man. Talk a little bit about that because your dad Wallace, a great basketball player at
Yep.
Hobbs. Your mother Carol, a great runner at Santa Fe High, I believe, a track star. So
Yep.
you came from a great gene pool, and you and your brother Marcus. Wow. Talk to us a little bit about your mom and dad, who are great influences, great people.
Yeah, well, not only just the God-given ability from the genetics, but the work ethic and the things that they installed of how to do things the right way, how to not shortcut the game, which in turn you're not going to shortcut yourself. I started running track, I think at 8 years old, maybe even before that, and I'm talking like AAU track. We're on planes going to regionals and nationals every year because me and my brother are up there. We're placing. My brother won a high jump national championship as a youth. So we were competing at a high level from a young age and understanding kind of what it was going to take if you really wanted to do this with your life. And to their credit, they never truly forced it on us. It was kind of one of those things like this was just the environment we were in. We were always around the sports and we kind of just naturally gravitated to it. But it wasn't like, hey, you're gonna do this, hey, you're gonna do that. It was like, oh, I just like to do this, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they really pushed the education. I was a very good student. Did well in high school, did well in college. I have my college degree. Obviously, I'm teaching here at Rancho. So I was able to have a good balance of both, and then truly, once I became passionate about something, like really go for it, and they always supported that.
You've always been great parents. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I got a story to tell when you beat your dad, Wallace, last year in a JV game. I got to tell that story. That's still funny to me. We'll be back after these messages on the sports desk.
Mitch, there's a line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3. Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca.
Runner at third.
High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. It's upstairs, goes to the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, La Cueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As La Cueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman, quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch, and she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get one run back. That one sent on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her. Whoa, what a play.
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2 run, and this game could very well be over. It's a play at the plate. It's sliding, and that will do it. The Rams walk off the La Cueva Bears. It's a 3-run batted in shot by Dean Ellison.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
On any given night in America, there's almost 35,000 homeless veterans out there, and they're struggling. Oftentimes, food is something that gets sacrificed. It's easy to ignore it or lose track of that, but it's a desperate need in this community. And that's why we offer this food pantry to help those veterans. I had the privilege of running into a veteran. I said, I know it's just a drop in the bucket. And he said, I would not be alive today if it wasn't for this place. You obviously have a choice of card every time you make a purchase. But if you use this metal card, you'll be helping a veteran in need.
After the holidays, it's challenging to see bills come in. P&M can help with tips to save money on your electric bill. Set your thermostat lower. For every degree lower, you'll save 1 to 2% and see results in your next bill. Add weather stripping and caulking around windows and doors. Reducing air leaks saves you money. Hot air rises. Switch your ceiling fan to clockwise so warm air circulates, helping your home feel warmer. Small changes save you money on your bill. Learn more at pnm.com/tips.
P&M are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Guest today, Chris Williams, former Rio Rancho, New Mexico State, and Canadian football star, is our guest today. And Chris, in the first segment, we talked about your career in the Canadian Football League, and during the break, you're schooling me about how it's just about opportunities. Talk a little bit about your time with Chicago Bears. You were able to get out there as a returner. Talk a little bit about the NFL and opportunities and the difference between good and great. Talk a little bit about that, because you mentioned to me all those players in the NFL are very good, and sometimes it's just that much that separates them.
Oh, absolutely. Like everybody is talented enough where, the next person can get that opportunity and make enough plays that they'll keep that job. It literally is about getting the chance to go in there and do what you do and get a chance to work. And my time with the Bears was interesting because I'll keep it 100%. I never really thought I was gonna be there. I was with the Saints. I was on their practice squad, but they were taking care of me. And I just, like you said about opportunity, our team was so good, and I had come in the fourth week of the season because because of a contract dispute. This is all pro football stuff, man. Like this is a professional league. This is a sport that has true consequences for everything and business decisions. So I had to fight a long time to even get to that spot. So once I got to the Saints, I kind of felt like I had a home there. And the way that it worked out is the Chicago Bears came literally at the last game of the season and basically gave me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And it gave me some perks that I was going to be able to have for extended past my football career. So I took that opportunity, ended up on their team for the last game of the season. I think it was 2013. And we were playing Green Bay for the last week to win. I didn't play, but I was just on there and I got to watch. And we lost on a little tip pass that Randall Cobb caught for a touchdown. I think it was 10 years ago. So it's those are the differences between you hearing about the Packers keeping this playoff streak and the Bears cracking through that first year, and then me coming back and really getting a whole training camp and a whole offseason and everything, which I did get, but the whole feel of that team was different just because we didn't make the playoffs. And
Game
and I
of
think
inches like
and I
that, right?
think that and I think that led into some of the decisions and things that happened going into that next year, 2014, where I did spend the bulk of the year for playing for the Bears. And we got in a rut and we couldn't kind of come out of it. And I got injured, I got released. They told me I was gonna come back. They all get fired because we didn't make the playoffs. So literally, GM, head coach, they cleaned house. This is pro football.
Right.
Everybody's gone, and that's the game of inches that we sign up for and that we play here.
Chris, we got to mention, that's a great breakdown of the pros. We want to make sure, and it's sent by your dad Wallace, who's a friend of mine who I really really admire, and your mom as well. High school, your first team All State, nearly 2,200 rushing yards, 33 touchdowns your senior year. Second team All State basketball, 9 times state champion, and track and field. And your dad Wallace, I believe, a 440 guy. If I'm right, was a 440, and your mom ran. So again, we want to mention your college career: 2-time All-American, Sports Illustrated, 2-time All-WAC, 1-time second team All-WAC, led the nation receiving yards per game, catches per game in 2006. New Mexico State all-time leader in yards and touchdowns, and a member of the New Mexico Athletic Hall of Fame. Your career at Rio Rancho was a spectacular one, and we mentioned your brother Marcus had a good career, great career as well. Tell us what you remember now. You're coaching football there, and you're also the assistant coach and teaching, giving back to your school. What do you remember most about your outstanding career at Rio Rancho?
Yeah, so I gotta give a shout out to a couple of people. So firstly, Brandon McKinney. If anybody knows who Brandon McKinney is, he's a cop now here in Rio Rancho, and he was a year ahead of me, and I was. And my other shout outs to Wilson Holland, and I'm gonna tell you why, because I love Coach Holland, man. Me and him have a great relationship. Coach Holland honestly thought I was too small to play football, and I don't think he trusted me to play on varsity, even though I was good enough to play. So I asked to play on JV a couple games. I did well, but I never felt like I got the opportunities that I was going to get to play for him. And so I was ready just to do basketball and track because obviously I was very well vested in those sports as well, and I felt like I'd have opportunities to get to college and potentially beyond. And Brandon we got a new coach. Unfortunately, Coach Hong lost his job that year, and he went on to bigger and better things because Wilson's the man.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a new coach, Phil Lopez, and Brandon just talked me into it, man, and I listened. And Coach Lopez gave me those opportunities, and the next thing I know, I'm just 1,000-yard season with high digit team touchdowns. And then the next year, it's like I really just felt at home in that offense, and I played really well. And there's opportunities uh, for me to now showcase what I could do on the football field and have everyone really see it. And it opened up all the doors that I needed to open up. Start getting college scholarship offers and recruiting visits, and that's the game, man. That's how it goes.
You know what, Ted, but I think it's good that you mentioned, people that helped you, that encouraged you. Coach Holland, I know Coach Holland real well. I used to ref some games with him, and he is the man. His son Jalen being recruited by a lot of top schools. He had some.
Yeah. No, dude, Coach Holland knows his stuff. He just,
Yes,
for whatever reason, with me, he just didn't think that I can handle it at that age, and it just lit something in me, man. I always had that, but I can just tell you, it really pissed me off. I was gonna be honest with you. I was ready. I was ready. I was ready, and I didn't get it, and I was mad, and it lit a fire, and then I got that kind of rebellious phase where I was ready just to give it up because I had other things, and Brandon talked me into it, and it was the best decision of my life, man. Obviously,
that competitive
because you
drive, no
look,
question.
16 years later, I was still playing football. So
Yeah, no doubt. Tell us about playing. You and I mentioned Hal Mummy, the air raid offense at New
love it.
Mexico State. A lot of opportunities there too. Talk about that.
So here's a funny story about Hal. So Hal and Gary Goff, who's now the head coach at McNeese State, they walk into St. Pius gym. We're playing basketball, and I think right when they had walk in, I get a steal, and I go up to dunk it, and I hit the back of the rim, boom, and it flies to half court. So coach takes me out. I don't even think I played the rest of the half. We come back in, play the game. I do well. I think we won. I think we ended up winning that game. It was a close game. We might have won, might have lost. We come out of the gym, and he walks up to me and he says, "I saw you on film, and I was a little unsure, but I had to come check you out." He goes, "I walked in there and I see you flying up there like that." And he goes, if you come to our school, he says, "I will give you the ball as many times as I can." And I kid you not, that's exactly what that man did. So I will always respect him for that, because a lot of college coaches do not tell you something and actually keep their word. They're going to tell you that to get you there, but they're not always going to keep it. And to his credit, man, he really, truly did. Now, a lot of that was on me, too. I had to go earn that.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave me those opportunities. And as a player, that's all you can ask for.
You made the most of it, though. I think the opportunities you mentioned.
Yeah.
You got one there. Yeah.
With that offense, I mean, we really were spreading it out. I mean, everybody who watched Texas Tech, and rest in peace to the legend Mike Leach, how Mummy was helping him. He's the grandfather of that, and then Leach takes it to another level, and then it gets pushed to another level. So, these are the influences of my initial football background, which honestly was light years ahead of its time, because that's what everybody's trying to do now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You mentioned those two there, and rest in peace, Coach Leach. Indeed, he loved to put pressure on that defense with that air raid offense. Chris, you're coaching football there now. You mentioned you're also an assistant coach of basketball. Give us a little preview. Without giving away any state secrets here, of what we might expect from Rio Rancho. Your head coach there, Nate Pino. Tell us about what we might expect from them.
We got a good group, man. We got two solid quarterbacks. I think Noah Nelson has really come into his own and taken charge of this thing in the spring, and he's gonna be solid for us and give us a real opportunity. He's a good athlete, and he's been making really good decisions. We got a good running back, man. He came into his own last year, Race Ramirez, and he's gonna tote that thing well for us. And my underrated receiver that we got here, Anthony Raymer, he's on it this year. He's ready to have a big season and break out. Same with some of our younger guys. We got some unknowns that are going to surprise a lot of people this year. But we're young, so we're going to have to put it together. It's gonna take a little bit. We might have some growing pains, but I think at the end of the day, we can be right there in the mix and fighting for the whole thing.
You know what? Let's wrap this up. But it is a tough district. You got a piece of a district.
Our district is a monster in every single sport. I mean, it's like this in football. It's like this in basketball. It's like this in baseball. It's like this in wrestling. I mean, it is the district of districts, and it's been this way since I was in high school. When I was in high school, it was Cibola with Alan Branch, myself, Rio Grande with Harvey Hale and Alex White and Cleveland Files. And then, here, we're going to switch El Dorado in here with Daniel Ferris and Bryce and his group. It was crazy. And then here's Valley with Josh Jenkins and Ish. And oh my goodness, man, our district it's just always been this way. And the same thing for football. So, it just is what it is, man. We're up for the battle, we're up for the challenge, and we're gonna do our thing.
We'll look forward. That's right around the corner. It's funny how the summer goes so fast. You got to put in the work. Chris
man,
Williams,
2 weeks, we'll be back at it.
Yeah, no doubt. It's right around the corner. Chris Williams, former Rio Rancho, New Mexico State, and Canadian football star. We sure appreciate you joining us today on the Sports Desk.
Man, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
We'll definitely be keeping up with you and your progress as the season goes by, and we'll touch base for sure. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.
Come check us out.
Good job.